Hey there, Jen here with some breaking Biden news. It turns out that two more women have come forward tonight. Tonight is April 2nd, and this story broke around 8:30 p.m. Eastern Time. So I'm going to dive right into it and show you where in the New York Times this has appeared with the two additional women. The New York Times title is Biden's Tactile Politics Threaten His Return in the Me Too Era. So I won't read all of this, but I will read the relevant parts as well as where there are two additional accusers, because it's important. And to catch you up, Biden has been accused by Lucy Flores of inappropriate touching and kissing, and a second Connecticut woman came forward and also accused him of inappropriate touching. And now in this article, we have two more. And just to backtrack a little bit, if you're not familiar with Lucy Flores, she is a former assemblywoman from Nevada. Joseph R. Biden Jr. came up in politics as an old-school backslapper whose greatest strength was his ability to connect. He doled out handshakes and hugs to friends and strangers alike, and his tendency to lavish his affections on women and girls was so central to his persona that it became fodder for late-night television jokes. And I haven't clicked on that link, but I assume it links to The Daily Show with Jon Stewart and Samantha Bee back in 2015, where they actually made a joke out of how touchy-feely and gropey Joe Biden is. And I want to make it clear that no one has accused Joe Biden of sexual assault. So it doesn't seem to rise to that level. No one's accusing him of that. They are accusing him of being too touchy-feely and gropey and being inappropriate and making women feel uncomfortable. So the article continues, but the political ground has shifted under Mr. Biden, and his tactile style of retail politicking is no longer a laughing matter in the era of Me Too. Now, as he considers a run for president, Mr. Biden is struggling to prevent his strength from turning into a crippling liability. On Tuesday alone, two more women told the New York Times that former vice president's touches made them uncomfortable. Again, I'm not going to read all of this. So far, no prominent Democrat has suggested he not run. And in fact, Nancy Pelosi, when asked about this, said, Joe Biden should give some answers, but she doesn't think it's disqualifying for Joe Biden to run. And here it is. I don't think it's disqualifying. Speaker Nancy Pelosi said in an interview with Politico Playbook. But she added, he has to understand in the world that we are in now that people's space is important to them. And what's important is how they receive it and not necessarily how you intended it. Gloria Steinem, feminist icon, said, the way out is simple. Our bodies and voices belong to us. That should be the first step in democracy. Just ask before hugging. And it also talks about the handling of Anita Hill and how he faltered on that and how a lot of people are going to hold him account over that as well. Mr. Biden is already facing questions about whether this is the time for an older white man to carry his party's banner in 2020. His handling of the 1991 confirmation hearings of Justice Clarence Thomas, who was accused of sexual harassment by the law professor Anita Hill, has also been the subject of scrutiny. And the president, Mr. Trump, has also caught on. As if on cue, the president went after Mr. Biden at a fundraiser in Washington on Tuesday night, cracking a joke about asking for a kiss. Mr. Trump said, I felt like Joe Biden. So we know when the president's involved, it's always a great sign, right? Okay, here we get into the two additional women that have come forward. The list of women coming forward is growing. Caitlin Caruso, a former college student and sexual assault survivor, said Mr. Biden rested his hand on her thigh, even as she squirmed in her seat to show her discomfort, and hugged her just a little bit too long, at an event on sexual assault at the University of Nevada in Las Vegas. She was 19. So about this accusation, I can't imagine, I don't know what year this was, but he was either a senator or the vice president at the time, and if someone had of that power or whatever, or anyone at all had, if I just met them or whatever and they rested their hand on my thigh, that would make me so incredibly uncomfortable. I mean, I don't know what I would do specifically, but that's really, I mean, this is just my opinion, but it's sexually suggestive. Again, no one has accused him of sexual assault, but to me, a hand on a thigh is a bridge too far, that's for sure. Ms. Caruso, now 22, said she chalked up the encounter at the time to how men act and did not say anything publicly. But she said it was particularly uncomfortable because she had just shared her own story of sexual assault and had expected Mr. Biden, an architect of the 1994 Violence Against Women Act, to understand the importance of physical boundaries. It doesn't even really cross your mind that such a person would dare perpetuate harm like that, she said. These are supposed to be people you can trust. And here is a picture of Caitlin Caruso right there. And then we have DJ Hill, 59, a writer who recalled meeting Mr. Biden in 2012 at a fundraising event in Minneapolis, said that when she and her husband, Robert, stepped up to take their photograph with the vice president, he put his hand on her shoulder and then started dropping it down her back, which made her feel very uncomfortable. Her husband, seeing the movement, put his hand on Mr. Biden's shoulder and interrupted with a joke. Ms. Hill did not say anything at the time and acknowledged that she does not know what Mr. Biden's intention was or whether he was aware of her discomfort. Only he knows his intent, she said, but norms are changing now, she said, and if something makes you feel uncomfortable, you have to feel able to say it. And then it talks about the counter narrative where people like Stephanie Carter, who often shows up in the photo and video montages of Bill Biden, she's the wife of former Defense Secretary Ash Carter, and Biden at his swearing-in ceremony put his hands on her shoulders and it looked like she was uncomfortable. He did it too long. It was a weird gesture. And it was definitely fodder for late night TV shows. So different women seem to take his forwardness, his affectionate nature, as he says, they take it differently. So we also have Aaron Bilbray, a former Democratic congressional candidate from Nevada, who came to Mr. Biden's defense. During a meet and greet in a private room with her family before an event in 2014, she said, "Mr. Biden hugged me and kissed me on the head." It was a very nurturing, supportive action, says Ms. Bilbray, now 49, who also posted about her encounter with Mr. Biden on Facebook on Sunday. It was not anything other than that. So it's up to you, I guess, how you take this, how you deem Joe Biden's actions. But it really comes down to how the women feel about it. So while Stephanie Carter and Aaron Bilbray may not feel that their encounters with Mr. Biden crossed the line, other women like Lucy Flores, the woman from Connecticut, and then these two who have just come forward, they feel that it was inappropriate and it made them highly uncomfortable, so uncomfortable that they haven't come forward until now. And it's just not looking good for Mr. Joe Biden. He has not announced his presidency still to this point, and this round of kind of creeping into the Me Too, although no woman accuser has used the Me Too hashtag, it really does not bode well for his political future. A lot of people say, oh, Joe's such a nice guy. He used to, as a senator, take the train home to Delaware every night to be with his children. People think that's so sweet. People feel bad because he's recently lost his son, Beau Biden, to cancer. And he previously lost an infant and his former wife, who has now died, in a car accident. So he's gone through a lot in his life. He seems to be a jolly, good-natured guy. And so it's hard for a lot of people, especially people who are friends with him or have known him for a long time and have never personally taken offense to his actions. It's hard for people to believe that there's anything nefarious going on here. And I have to say, my opinion is that I don't know what his intent is, as one of the women said. Does he really think that kissing women you've just met on the back of the head, sniffing their hair, grabbing them on the shoulders, hugging them far too long? There's even a clip of him hugging Hillary Clinton for way too long. It's very uncomfortable to watch. And I don't know. I don't know what his intent is. I don't know if he's, in quotes, a creeper. It's really a tough one. I think it's inappropriate. I think it's inappropriate of someone who is going to run for president. I think he should not run. As for the rest of it, I don't know. It's, as I said, it does come down to the women's opinion who have come forward. But there's also room for us on the other side of things to interpret the whole spread. There is no question that there's a lot of video and photo evidence of him behaving inappropriately with women and young children. And the young children is, you can't just go grab someone's child. You can't just go sniff some child's hair that you don't know. It's very weird. Very, very weird. So on one hand, maybe it's nefarious. Maybe he's a creeper, a predator. On the other hand, maybe he doesn't realize what he's doing. That seems far-fetched. Maybe he just means to be affectionate. Who knows? Joe Biden is the only one who knows, and then the women and how they interpret his actions are the only ones who know on their end. I also want to say that a woman sort of came forward on Twitter. I've reached out to her and I haven't heard back yet, but I'm going to ask for comment or even interview her, depending on what she's game for. But I want to show you this tweet. So this is Sage Carson on Twitter, at Sage_GAEA. And she says, one night at college in Delaware, all the girls I was with spent the night trading stories about how Biden had kissed their head or rubbed the small of their back. We all had a similar story. If Biden is confused at how he has made women uncomfortable, he's not paying attention. So this woman is asserting that multiple women that she knows, and including herself, have been made to feel uncomfortable by Joe Biden. So I really hope that she responds to me. I would like to speak with her and hear her story. And maybe she can even connect me with some of her friends who have their own stories. So the breaking news tonight is that 2 more women have come forward. And I'm going to say that this Sage Carson has used her Twitter feed to come forward as well, because she said we all had similar stories of the inappropriate touching, kissing, feeling. So we have at least 5 women who are saying this. We have lots of photo and video evidence. It's all very weird. It's all very creepy. And Joe Biden should not run for president. So that's all for tonight. I will stay on this story because I think it's important. I think it's very strange. I think it's an important lesson as well for men out there to think about what you're doing when you encroach on someone's personal space. So I'm signing off now, and I will talk to you later. Bye bye.